Hey friends, guess what day it is? That's right, Library Day. So we're far enough into the book where it is not feasible for me to catch you up on the story every single week. So if you have not watched the previous, I think there's three different videos of the first three readings of this book. You might want to go watch those first, or at least watch the most recent one. But we left off. Ross had just told his best friend Abby about his cancer, but because this book jumps back and forth from present to past a lot, it's kind of hard to keep track because we're only reading once a week. So hopefully you're with me. He just told Abby they're out in the woods behind Abby's house. Now we're going back to current. Chapter 7, Laser Beams and French Fries. Back in the present, oh look, we're back in the present. Back in the present, my dad's waiting behind the wheel when I come out of school. Time for my second treatment. It only takes a few minutes to the Proton Radiation Center, but he's been through McDonald's to pick up Cokes and a couple orders of fries. For sustenance, he says, cramming a handful in his mouth. I straddle one of my dad's big accordion files crammed full of legal papers in the footwell. He shifts the car into gear. You ready for day 2? I pick out a single fry. Do I have a choice? No, I guess you don't. He washes the wad of fries down with a sip of Coke. Are you okay? I think about that for a minute, watching some guy take bright orange leaves out of his yard. I think so. I guess so. I look over at him and he still looks tired. Are you okay? He looks over, surprised. Me? Yeah, just busy. Why? I give a quick shrug. I don't know. A big gust of wind comes along and sends half the guy's neatly raked pile of leaves flying. You've been through it before. I'm sure it was awful with Mom. It had to be, and now it's happening again. I guess I feel guilty. My dad is facing forward, but I see a look flash across his face that's almost angry. Ross, no. I don't ever want you to feel that way. Don't even think that. You didn't ask for this. I lean my head back. I know. It just doesn't seem fair. He turns a corner a little wide, distracted. Oh, it's not. He gives me a funny smile. But whoever said life is fair? I take a long drink. Nobody, I guess. You got that right. He drives for a few moments in silence. You and I are in it now, together. Our job is just to roll with the punches. I grab another fry. Punch rolling. Got it. Life punches, we roll. He raised his eyebrow. Right, dude? He leans over toward me. He's being dorky to be funny. I told you not to say dude. Okay, dude. He leans in more, raises his eyebrows farther. He's such a dad. I give him a half smile just to make him stop, and something pops into my head. Hey, would it be totally weird if I wanted to go in and do this by myself? I don't know, so I'm not like a little kid? He sits back, surprised, but thinks for a second. No, that's not weird. He nods. I get that. Are you sure? I'm not even sure why I'm asking. He looks out of his window for a bit. We're in the parking lot outside the radiation center. When he looks back, I see his eyes are shinier than usual, teary. I wasn't really going for a touching moment here, but it looks like it's headed that way. Have I told you how proud I am of you? Oh boy. Yes, you have, Dad, about 1,000 times. Ha! His laugh is wet. Right, but I am, the way you're handling this. Your mom would be... His throat catches and he shakes his head. Then he's wiping his eyes and waving me out of the car. Okay, whatever, out, before I start blubbering and snotting all over the place. I open the door and climb out. Too late. In the lobby, Jerry is in the same chair with a cup of coffee like he never left. He looks up from his AARP magazine. There he is, young Ross. His voice is so gravelly it sounds like it hurts. How are you doing today? I sit on a couch across from him. I waggle my hand. So. I hear ya. Did you come straight from school? I nod. He nods back. I busy myself digging around through my school folders. So, what kind? Jerry asks. He's rolling his magazine up in his big hands. I look up. What? What kind of school? No, your cancer. Where is it? Mine's here. He points a large crooked finger at his lap. This stops me cold. And he waves a big hand at me. Never mind, I was just being nosy. Nosy old man. He chuckles, and it turns into a loud, wheezy coughing fit. I wait until I'm pretty sure he isn't going to die. It's in my eye. Jerry wipes his mouth and chin with a yellowed handkerchief. He sniffs a couple times. I wondered, is that where you got this? He points to the middle of his forehead. Between my eyebrows, I have a scar. It looks like an inch-long slit right about where your brow would crease if you were mad. I nod. Yeah, that's where they shot BBs into my skull, so the machine knows where to put the beam. There are actually 4 scars, but the rest are hidden in my hair, for the moment at least. Jerry's nodding. It's like your own personal dime slot. He rubs his forehead. Dime slot? He waves his big hand. Like a coin slot, where you would put a dime in a payphone. He raises his furry eyebrows and chuckles. Payphone. Okay, never mind. At your age, it's probably more of a Harry Potter scar, I guess. This surprises me. You know about Harry Potter? He laughs and unrolls his magazine. I'm old, son. I'm not dead, and I have grandkids. I've seen a couple of the movies. He gives me another look over. Is that why that one eye is shut, too? Yeah. I look away. The hallway doors fly open, and Frank walks in. Frank stops for a second to survey the situation. Okay, Ross, let's us young people go have some fun with protons. Leave the old man to read his old people magazine. I grab my bag and follow him, giving Jerry a wave. He lifts a hand and smiles. See you around, dime slot. Frank looks over at me. Dime slot? I roll my eyes and point at my scar, and Frank barks out a laugh. Love it. You too? Frank looks disappointed. He sighs, staring at the CD in his hands. Okay, Ross, this is dad rock. All right, it's better than last time, sort of. His voice dies off as he slowly turns and plods toward the radio shelf, like he's dragging his feet through quicksand. I spent some time digging through my dad's CD collection last night, and I was pretty sure I'd picked a winner. Callie hadn't put the U-Lock piece down yet, so I can still kind of talk. Just so I don't let you down in the future, what exactly were you hoping I would bring? Well, this stops Frank. He comes back to the metal table. U2 is fine. They're good. They're a good, solid band. But don't you ever go off-roading? Musically, I mean? Listen to some stuff that's off the beaten path or on the edges of the path, at least? I just lie there, as I can't move. I guess not. Okay, tomorrow I want you to bring something you love, but you're not sure that anyone else would like. Something off the wall. Something maybe a little dangerous. I wait a second before I respond. Well, I would, but CDs are kind of for old people. Frank stares at me. Did you hear what he said, Callie? Did you hear that? I told you there was signs of life in this one. As Callie reaches over with the mouthpiece, he steps aside. Callie kept saying you were a big dud, but I said no. I said, you watch, this kid has an inner something. We just have to keep digging. Callie smiles and shakes her head at me. If you'd like him removed, blink twice. Frank turns and walks to the CD player, waving his hands theatrically. Here you go, Ross. Here comes your stadium-ready, corporate-approved jock rock. Off we go to where the streets have no name. Callie checks the placement of my blob of blue nose clay and tells me not to mind him. The treatment feels long today. I'm not sure why. There are several times when I realize my eye is drifting and I curse myself in my head. The last thing I need is a deep-fried eyeball. As we're walking out, I tell Frank he should bring some of his CDs in tomorrow, as I've always had an interest in antiques. Says the kid who brought in an album from 30 years ago. Frank punches a button on the electric doors, and we walk into the mostly empty waiting room. Jerry must be getting zapped in the other treatment room. You watch. I'll have you off that spoon-fed Pop 40 junk in no time. Just then, the receptionist calls to me and tells me that Dr. Throckton, the man with all the answers, wants to see me if I have a minute. 2 minutes later, I'm sitting across from him in an exam room, and I learn that things are about to go from bad to catastrophic. Chapter 8. Hats and How to Hate Them. I'm at Abby's. There are 3 wide-brimmed hats spread out on her bed. Boy. She has her hands on her hips and blows a curl out of her face. Wow, this is some choice. I groan. Tell me again exactly what the doctor said. So I tell her, for the 3rd time, how Dr. Throckton had pulled me into his office after my treatment to announce I have to start wearing a hat. A big, wide-brimmed one to keep the sun off my face. Apparently, because of all the radiation I'm getting from the treatments, I need extra protection from UV rays. And not just when I'm outside. Oh no, everywhere. Indoors, everywhere there are windows, at home, in the car, at the hospital, in school. Doctor's orders, he said. The risks from sun exposure are blah-de-blah-de-blah blah blah. Not to blame blah 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 blah. The rest of our talk is a blur to me because all I heard in my head was panic. Rushing blood, brain static. All chances at being a halfway normal 7th grader are slipping away from me. Now Abby and I are studying the only wide-brimmed hats my dad and I could find at the mall. My dad insisted on getting all 3 so I could think about it. What am I going to do? Throckton's like the smartest guy in the world, so if he says I need it, but my shoulders slump. Oh, look at this one, Abby says, grabbing a hat. She's wearing these furry green monster gloves that she found at the Halloween store, her new favorite find. It has a little cape in the back here. She pulls a strap and a flap unfolds. To keep the tsetse flies off your neck, that's smart. She places it delicately on my head and tightens the chin strap. Okay, she steps back and looks me up and down. You look like you should be wrestling crocodiles on Animal Planet. But that's not all bad. Fantastic. I take off the hat and put on the one that makes me think of Gilligan's Island. She smiles. Hey, there's my little buddy. We've binged all the adventures of the SS Minnow at least twice over the years, in her basement over Cheetos and Dr. Pepper. I try the 3rd hat on. It's a straw cowboy hat looking thing with the edges of the brim rolled up. Okay, that one really isn't that bad. I mean, it's horrible, but it's less horrible than the others, partner. I walk over to the floor-length mirror on her closet door, and I see a cowboy staring back. I just need a piece of straw sticking out of my mouth. I look like I'm going to a hoedown. Abby pushes the other hats aside and sits on the edge of her bed. It's not that bad. You'll get through it. Maybe you should draw one of your characters on it, or write doctor's orders on it in really big print. I fall into her papasan chair. I might, or prescription strength hat. We sit in silence for a minute. On the plus side, she says, it'll cover things up when you start losing your hair. I sigh and look around the room. It looks like Halloween in here, but it has nothing to do with it being 2 days before Halloween. Her room looks like this year-round. Every inch of wall space is covered in eBay purchases, posters and photos representing her 2 biggest passions, monster and horror movies, and some weird band called Vampire Weekend. Godzilla, King Kong, Frankenstein's monster, and a giant tarantula are all looking down on us from the walls. Back to the hair loss, Abby's tried several times to talk me into shaving my head, ahead of it falling out, saying it would be epic. I have assured her that I'm not going for epic the way she is. She even offered to shave hers along with me. She seems to have a hard time understanding my whole wanting to blend in thing. Her mom leans into the room. How's it going in here? She sees me and gets that sad, sincere look on her face, her concerned face. You doing okay, Ross, with the treatments? I nod and I give her a big smile. Yep, getting along, yep. A brief pause. Yeppers. I really need to figure out how to respond to these questions. She nods back. Okay, good. No Isaac? Abby shakes her head, and her mom makes a thinking face, making a sound. Then her comfortable mom smile is back. Do you want me to throw in a Totino's for you guys? Abby lights up. Ooh, do we have triple cheese? I'll check, I think so. She knocks the wood of the door frame twice, ducking out. Abby catches me glaring at my reflection in her mirror. I am not liking what I see here. Cowboy Ross, he of the goofy hat. It's going to be fine, Ross. I nod, sort of a half nod. I'm telling you, Ross, Abby says, you need to grab this thing by the reins. If you have to be the weird guy, own it. I put my head back and let out a long groan. Chapter 9. Giddy up. The next day, I am not prepared to deal with the bus in a cowboy hat, so Linda gives me a ride to school. She tries to make me feel better during the drive. Granted, it is her Linda way. Maybe this could be a whole new look for you, you know? She waves her venti green tea at my hat. Of course we stopped at Starbucks, Buc-ee's, whatever. Own it. Be Ross the Hat Guy, inside and out. Tip the brim at girls like a movie rancher. She mimes it. Like that. I know Linda is only trying to help, and she's saying the same stuff Abby did, but I feel sick. It's raining, but I ask Linda to drop me off before we get to the parking lot. I cut across the soggy lawn. What's a couple of wet feet compared to impending social death? Abby's waiting at the bike rack by the front door, wiping off her viola case. She studies me and refuses to feel sorry for me. It's just a hat, Ross. Seriously, you look like your dog died. I get a few funny looks and a handful of pointed fingers as I walk down the hall to my locker. One kid gives me a thumbs up and a loud, "Nice!" I hear, "Get along, little doggy," as I pass the biology room. But the biggest reaction comes in Miss Bayer's class. I have been dreading this one. "What the—" Jimmy. "Not cool," he sputters. "How come you get to wear a hat, butt crack?" It's not by choice. I point at the front where I really did end up writing doctor's orders, like Abby suggested. My dad wasn't happy about the ruined hat, but decided to let it slide. Jimmy scrunches up his face. "Whatever. I wore one last year and Mr. Phillips took it. I had hat hair for 2 days. I choose not to mention that he has a pretty serious case of hat hair right now. My eye is killing me, so I grab one of my little eye drop vials. As quick as I can, put in a couple of drops, wiping away the gooey liquid before it can dry there and get all crusty. I've had a few days where I get home and it looks like I rubbed a glazed donut on my eye. I realize Jimmy's still watching me. "What's up with you and those stupid drops?" I tuck the vial back in my jeans. I don't have tears in that eye. They took out the gland that makes tears when they did my surgery, so I have to use drops. He stares, chomping away. He looks around and quickly pulls his spit jar out of his desk, lets fly, and then tucks it away again. "Yeah? Or what?" "If I go very long, it starts to sting really bad. It burns. So, drops. And it stings super bad when it's open." Jimmy stares at me long enough I wonder if he's stalled out. "Is that why you hold it closed?" I nod. He swallows. "That sucks." "Yeah," I shrug. "It kinda does." Then he turns away, and I hear him mutter something under his breath. Was it Cowboy? Great. I guess it's a better nickname than butt crack. I glance back over, but he just sits there staring forward with a big, stupid, mean look on his face. During fourth period, I feel a sudden pounding need to go to the bathroom. Mr. Ballou gives me a hall pass, and I make it with only minutes to spare. On my way back to class, I'm about to turn down another empty hallway when Isaac comes around the corner right in front of me. And I think we're both caught off guard because we stop. "Hey, Isaac!" Why am I suddenly nervous? He's one of my 2 best friends in the world. He looks a little trapped. There are no other students to dash off to or hide behind. "Hey, Ross." I'm not sure what to say, so I say, "Bathroom?" He laughs, but it seems like an uncomfortable laugh. "Yep." "Me too." I pat the hall pass against my palm. "Hey, how are you doing on Annihilation Moon?" Isaac puts one of his stick-like arms up and rubs the back of his neck. "Oh, good, I'm almost done. Have you done the whole crater challenge?" This is literally our first conversation in forever, and I feel myself light up. "Yeah, I just finished the crater. We should get together and play sometime, maybe." He cuts me off by holding clenched fists together in front of him and doing a little dance shuffle. "Ross, buddy, I'm about to pee myself, but we'll get together real soon, I swear." I nod. Yeah, okay. And he's past me. I don't think he meant that about getting together soon. I know what a brush-off feels like. I turn around in time to see him duck into the boys' room, and suddenly there's a big pit in my stomach, like somebody took a melon baller and scooped it out. I'm slowly walking past the AV room when John Meeker sees me and leans out. He points at my head and sings in a snarly voice, Hey, save a horse, ride a cowboy." I think it's from a country song. I just give him a smile and a thumbs up and get back to class. By the end of the day, almost everybody's seen the hat and gotten in their yeehaw, their saddle up, and Halloween's tomorrow comments out of their systems. Nobody knocks it off my head or laughs in my face the way I had dreaded. In fact, most kids just kind of look for a moment and then accept it. Cancer kids get hats, and that's that, I guess. When my dad picks me up to take me to my treatment, my spirits are kind of up, unbelievably. For a brief moment, I feel like there's hope in the world. Frank stops in his tracks when he sees me in the waiting room. His face suddenly looks dead serious, like something's wrong. "I'm afraid this town ain't big enough for the 2 of us, Sheriff." I groan. "Hilarious. Did you bring this amazing music you keep going on and on about?" I duck past him and hit the button for the automatic doors. He catches up. "You joke, but your real education begins today, my young Padawan. Prepare to have your mind expanded and potentially blown." Once I'm on the table and the mask is in place, Frank holds up a CD in front of me. It has scrawly writing on it. Ross's Intro to Music That Doesn't Suck. "I made it last night. You think you can handle it?" Callie steps in with the mouthpiece. Oh no, this doesn't have your band on it, does it? Frank's eyelids go half-mast. Only the first couple of songs are Ripe Sponge. Then it's just a hodgepodge, a mishmash, if you will. Ripe Sponge? I have time to ask before the mouthpiece goes in. What's that? Ripe Sponge! That's my band! He goes over and rattles the CD into the tray and hits play and ducks around the corner. Callie looks at me while she fits the mouthpiece onto the table. If I'm being honest, his band isn't terrible, but I'd never tell him that. Then she reminds me not to look away from the X, pats my arm, and walks out of the room. Frank does not hold back on the volume today. First, there's a heavy drum, a fast, low thumping that goes on longer than it seems like it should, but then some other drums, louder and a little messy. Next is a bass line, lower than the drums. I feel the music in my chest, and it goes on like this for a bit. I can't tap my feet because I'm supposed to stay as still as possible, but I'm tapping them in my head. It's the kind of beat that makes you want to move around. Finally, a guitar comes in, ripping a hole in the middle of the song. It's cool and spooky and thrilling all at the same time. I'm hooked. The singer comes in. Is it Frank? I can't understand all the words, but who cares? And it gets even better. I think the song is about a girl and maybe flying, and there's something about evil nachos, unless I'm hearing it wrong. But the lyrics don't matter that much. I just love this song. Instantly. Completely. I'm really not sure why the music is hitting me like this on this particular day, like it's sinking into me rather than bouncing off, but it is. I mean, I've heard music before, good music. Why today? Maybe my defenses are down because of radiation nerves. Maybe it's just a new kind of music I'm not used to. Like it's my kind of music and it's been waiting for me out there. Maybe the proton beam is accidentally zapping my brain and I'm having some kind of seconds before death moment of clarity. Or maybe I just needed it now. I'm not sure, but it's lighting me up in a way I haven't experienced before. The next few songs are heavier than anything I've heard on KZAQ and 3 times harder than anything in my dad's collection, but I really love them and I want more. I can't keep the smile off my face, mouthpiece and all. As I walk out afterward, I realize I haven't thought about my stupid hat for at least 15 minutes. We're going to stop there. Next week is chapter 10, and it is called Bad Halloween. I'll see you guys then.